Hello, my dear doctor. Welcome to the MRCP UK Part 2 written preparations. One of the important video clips, this is one that before going for the preparation tips and tricks and what you're going to watch online, the video lectures for or maybe the lectures on right for Part 2 written. So you must know, my dear, the differences in between the Part 1 preparations and also the Part 2 written preparations. Means you need to know what is the differences in between the Part 1 and Part 2 written. As because you already passed the MRCP UK Part 1, so you have some of the idea actually what you need to do in your exams. But you need to change yourself in your attitudes, behaves, and also the preparations as well. So you must know what the things are coming into your exam. Yes, this is very important that we need to know more and more details about the Part 2 written. What does this really mean and how should I approach towards the exams? I would like to give the name of these video clips, that is the differences in between the Part 1 and also the Part 2 written exams, my dear, so that we can focus onto them. We can prepare very, very well so we can success onto the exam, my dear. So let's start. I'd like to write on them the differences in between the Part 1 and Part 2 written. So I'd like to write down the P2 here and here the P1. So MRCP UK Part 2 written exams and Part 1 exams. Before going to these differentiations, I'd like to talk a little bit, most important talk, the basic differences, the basic idea in between the MRCP UK Part 1, Part 2 written, and also the PACES part, means the step 3 or clinical part. So my dear, you already passed your exam. You can understand now actually on which level you are standing on. So what is the basic difference I'm saying? In Part 1, the difference, the word is the confidence level. So this single word will be helpful to understand basically the fundamentals of the differences in between the Part 1, Part 2 written and also clinical part. So my dear, listen very carefully. In Part 1, if you have more than 50 to 70% the confidence level, you can pass your exam. I think you can feel yourself on which level, confidence level that you already attained. I hope that you have this more than 50% to 70% if you pass the MRCP UK Part 1. Part 2 written now needs more than 70 to 90%, my dear. The confidence level. My dear, can you feel it? The 90% confidence level, it does essentially mean that you have to do the things very, very, very well. Means you have to do, once again, the perseverance, means the repetitions of the same thing. That will give you the confidence level. PACES needs more than 90 to 100% confidence level. So we'll discuss in another video clips when you'll prepare yourself for the PACES exam regarding this confidence level. My dear, the confidence, I'm saying now, the confidence level it depends on perseverance. I already discussed about this perseverance. What does it really mean? The many times that you study it, the confidence level will grow up to that level. So my dear, confidence level depends on the perseverance. So this is very important in your Part 2 written exams. Then answering questions with confidence versus answering questions with confusion. These two depends on to what extent that you do perseverance, my dear. If you have the less perseverance, you will have the confusions. You answer the question but with confusion. But in contrast, you do many times the same topic that you studied, so you'll have the good confidence, so you'll have the confident answer. So once again, answer with confusions and answer with confidence. The best way to relieve from the confusions, yes, that is the perseverance, my dear. So what I said, yes, the perseverance will give you the answer questions, answering questions with confidence versus answering questions with confusion. So this is very important. Answering questions with confidence and answering questions with confusions. Yes, my dear. The relieving factors, once again, the perseverance. So what I said, my dear, you already have some of the component that you pass the part 1, having you already reached more than 50 to 70%. You have the part 2 written, so you need more than 70 to 90%. So you have to do the perseverance many times. Recommendations that is given for the 5-star topic 5 times, 4-star topic 4 times, 3-star topic 3 times, 2-star 2 times. Yes, my dear doctor. And this confidence level, as I said, depends on the perseverance. If you do many times perseverance, so it will go the answering questions with confidence. Yes. And if it is less perseverance, so it will give you the answering questions with confusions. So yes, this minus means you've done less perseverance, plus means you've done the more and more perseverance. So we'll have the confident versus confusions. I hope that you got it, my dear. Now I'd like to talk based on that, the perseverance, I'd like to talk on the differences in between the part 2 written and also the part 1. So let me start by important points from here. So what is that? As already we have appeared the part 1 exam, so you will have an idea. Number 1, that is, I'd like to question number in terms of question number. In terms of question number in part 2 written, that the 3 papers exam into 100 question, so equal to 300 question. In contrast, 2 papers into 100 question equal to 200 question. So here there's a points, there's a part 2 written, and there's a part 1, there's a MRCP UK. My dear, listen very carefully. You'll be glad to know that in 2018, this is changed in part 2 written. This is very good news for you candidates, my dear. What is that? They changed it. In part 2 written, they are now giving this 2 papers. Similar, the 200 question. Similar to the part 1. Very similar. And regarding the question number, immediately after that, the question pattern. I'm talking about the question pattern. In part 2 written, the question pattern, of course, you already have the best of 5. In part 1, the best of 5. Here is also the best of 5, but it is also written that you may have n of many. What does it really mean, n of many? You already have the best of 5, my dear. Means among the 5 options that you have to choose the single best answer. N of many means you'll have the 10 options. You have to choose the 2 correct answer among the 10 options. So this is also formatted by the Royal College of Physicians. And can you remember the mark sheet means the answer sheets? In your answer sheets in part 1, can you remember the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 up to 100? So number 1 having the options like A, B, C, D and E. Having the number 2 question having similar A, B, C, D and E. So you have to the best answer like A, your smarts like A. Then you have got the question number 2 answer. There is a B option, so you put the B like that. In contrast here, in part 2 written, the mark sheets will be A, B, C, D, E. Of course, similar to part 1, but they will have, because the n of many, F, G, H, I, J. Means if the question have something like that, then what 2 investigations you will do in her case, so you have to answer the 2 answers in a single question. Like question 1, if you have the single question, like answer 1, 2 investigation that we are choosing. So you are putting A and H will be the answer. So that is said in Royal College of Physicians in the formats of part 2 written. But my dear, listen very carefully. You'll be glad to know that we have been observed for the last couple of years. They are turning the question into the best of 5 rather than n of many. Means very similar to the part 1. So I'm just now deleting this n of many. Means in a couple of years, even they say this n of many questions can be appeared in your exam, but we have observed no single questions even in setup in the last few years. So similar, the best of 5 and best of 5. So you must be happy, my dear. To the question pattern, I would like to talk on question size. This is a big differences. In question size, in the part 2 written, is big enough. Bigger. In contrast, definitely this is smaller. The question size, which is one of the most important differentiating features of part 2 written question style and pattern. So bigger questions, big questions will be in your part 2 written. You'll have the 2 papers, so you must be happy, because the 3 papers, it was earlier, the day 1 and day 2, day 1 consisted paper 1 and paper 2, and day 3 was the single paper, means the paper 3. But now, yes, you'll have the good news, my dear, only the 2 papers in the single day. But the question size is a bigger. Big size question. It was earlier, now also you'll have the big question. You'll have the lecture notes and also the lecture discussions, my dear. You haven't acquainted the typical questions that will be in your exam, my dear. So don't worry about it. So the big size question and the small size question. Immediately after the saying the question, another important things, that is the illustrations, my dear. Illustrations. Means in part 2 written, there will have the illustrations. But in part 2 written, absolutely absent. Means you already had the MRCP UK part 1 exam, so you hadn't faced any of the illustrations. Means no ECG photo, no of the photography will be there. But in part 2 written, there will be the photography. We called it illustrations or photography. Means images will be there. So can you remember in part 1 exams, you'll have a question book All right. Another one is the answer sheet. But in part 2 written, you'll have definitely the question book and also the answer sheet, and added there will be a photography book. Like as for example, in your question number 3, there is a photography. So in your scenarios, in some in between or somewhere it will be written the see the photography, question number 3. So you have to come up with the photography book, then you will see the question number 3 having the photography. So that is the way and the style and pattern of illustrations and photography. So you'll have an idea in this course, so you can understand. So photography will be there. Immediately after that, I would like to talk on very important thing, how the MRCP UK Part 2 written targeted questions to which part of the different chronic diseases. That's really important. Means if I know the questions target, so that I can prepare my very well to the targets. Focused, this is important, my dear. So the focused preparations is important. So MRCP UK Part 2 written questions target. Let's see. As I said that the question target the first step, and the most important, the most number of the questions will have the treatment, or we call the management. What I'm saying, at least the 40 to 50% of the questions will be related to the treatment and management. Yes, my dear doctor. So whilst we do prepare ourselves, whatever the diseases, please focus on to the treatment and management, my dear, because this is must, because I said 40 to 50%, very close to your passing marks. The management is important. The questions will be the different types. What treatment you will start now? What is the definitive treatment? Or maybe some of the treatments already given to the patients. So they will say what treatment will give to the patients for the best benefits. So the different ways of management planning they will ask. So you need to know very well the management and treatment very well. So here's, my dear doctor, the first step. Here's the treatment and management. And immediately the first target of the treatment or management, the second point is the investigations and the different investigations. And usually that comes up 20 to 30% questions based on the investigations. If I make it top, so we can say a bit topper, right? 30 to 40% question are basically investigations related. So we need to know very well the investigations and the data interpretations, including data interpretations, including the different investigations procedure, like CT scan MRI of the brain, MRI scan of the spinal cord, CT chest, CT abdomen. Yes. Next, you can see the chest X-ray, any of the X-ray, contrast X-rays of any of the parts of the body, ECG, echocardiography, cardiac catheterization, and an abdomen, CT abdomen, and also the different biochemistry, some of the pulmonary function tests, the long list of things. Yes, you'll have this syllabus, and you'll have some of the idea of what questions focused on. You'll get each and everything in this course. So yes, my dear doctor, so the investigation, so we have to focus on to the investigation of the specific diseases. Immediately after that, the third targets is the clinical features, means the diagnostic clinical features. So that's around like 10 to 30%. Next to the target is the clinical features, maybe some of the prognosis of the diseases, that only 0 to 10%. So these are basically the questions target, so that we can focus. We should be focused onto the questions target in our preparations. Means in our preparations, we have to give the most importance definitely to the management and treatment, and then to the investigation, then to the clinical features, and then to the prognosis, my dear. So this target, as because you already passed the MRCP UK part 1, so you don't need to have some of the compare and contrast what the features in part 1, you don't need that. Number 4, one of the most important talk, my dear, this is very important, is the time, my dear, time. Time management, it is said that 70 to 90% candidate fail to manage their times in their exams. This is very important, my dear. You can remember me, what I'm saying at the exam hall. Because I said the questions are big enough, so it's really difficult to manage your time. So time management is one of the important pitfalls, one of the important barriers for successful in the MRCP UK Part 2 written. My dear, listen very carefully. You'll be taught once again in this course how to manage your time, how to apply your knowledges within a very short time to read the questions and get the answers with confidence. A lot of components that I say to you, and a lot of components that you will be taught here through this online course, my dear. Yes, my dear doctors, so what I'm saying, the time management is really important. So time management, I say the 70 to 90% candidate fails to manage the time. Fail to manage the time. But you peoples, definitely, I'm giving this confidence, but you peoples will have a good management of the time. Even after each and every paper, we'll have the 5, 10, and some of the candidates gave us some of the feedbacks, like they have like 20 minutes even after the exams. So this is awesome, my dear. If you have the 20 minutes, at least 5 minutes, fill it at the end of the paper that you finished. So you have some time to come back to some of the confused questions, to rethink once again, to get the right answer with confidence much more. Maybe it would be your integral part that you passed your exam, my dear. I hope that the differences that we put here, that will give you the boost up, knowledges, focus things in your preparations. My dear, in this course, right, we will focus onto this part. So you can pass your exams with colorful results, my dear. So summary talk once again, the part 2 written questions is bigger, and the question target, if I'm saying the 3 talks, bigger questions, and the treatment target is the most common, and the time management is the most important things that we need to learn. I hope that you got the important differentiating points from the part 1 and part 2 written, and in that way you already have some of the ideas, yes, some of the ideas, some of the approaches and thinking process already changed, that what you need to do to prepare yourself the best possible way. I hope that, my dear, you enjoyed. Thank you very much.